Hi guys, welcome to Strength Universe. Before we start, I'd like to thank Knitting for suggesting the subject of today's comparison, which is between James Hollingshead and Ronnie Coleman. James has been a professional bodybuilder since 2018 and went on to win 2 professional shows in 2020, and he's up against possibly the strongest professional bodybuilder of all time and winner of 26 professional shows, including the Mr. Olympia 8 times. We start the comparison with the deadlift, where we find both athletes are equally equipped with lifting straps and belts, but Ronnie is pulling 363 kilograms or 800 pounds for 2 repetitions, which compares to James, who's lifting an estimated 350 kilograms. And the win on the deadlift goes to Ronnie, who manages 2 repetitions with a heavier weight. The second lift is a squat, and while both athletes are using knee wraps, Ronnie also has the addition of a squat suit, which can provide a significant advantage. Ronnie has a combined weight of 363 kilograms compared to James, who's lifting 340 kilograms, but in my opinion he's demonstrating better control and hitting slightly better depth. I've rewatched this part of the video numerous times, and while Ronnie is using a 6.7% heavier weight, after taking into account the depth of the squat and the added advantage provided by the use of a squat suit, I think the fairest result is to list this one as a draw. The squat is followed by the incline bench press, and here both athletes are pressing 184 kilograms or 405 pounds on benches of a similar incline, but in terms of form, James is demonstrating a more complete range of motion. The win on the incline press goes to James, who manages more unassisted repetitions with the same amount of weight while demonstrating a better range of motion. Next up, we look at the athlete's shoulder strength with a seated dumbbell press, and Ronnie is using 73 kilograms compared to James, who's pressing slightly less at 68 kilograms. Ronnie is, however, performing the exercise on a tricep seat that has a backrest of 90 degrees, compared to the 75 degrees that the backrest is set to on the bench that James is using. But notice that Ronnie arches his back to place his chest in a supine position. After taking into account the seating position, James takes the victory by achieving considerably more repetitions with a slightly lower weight. For the 5th comparison, we take a look at a hack squat, where both James and Ronnie are using knee wraps, but Ronnie has the machine loaded with 327 kilograms or 720 pounds, compared to James, who's using 286 kilograms or 630 pounds. In my opinion, James exhibits better form and achieves vastly more repetitions, but it's impossible to draw a fair conclusion due to the differences in equipment from one manufacturer to the next, so I've listed this one as a draw. The hack squat is followed by the dumbbell press, and both athletes lift and position the 91 kilogram or 200 pound dumbbells themselves, and both show very similar form and range of motion. Ronnie maintained his unbeaten record on the dumbbell press by achieving 12 repetitions compared to James's 9. The penultimate comparison is a bent over row, where we find James pulling 220 kilograms compared to Ronnie's 225. But note that Ronnie is dipping his legs at the end of each concentric phase of the lift and lowering his body to meet the bar. The win on the bent over row goes to Ronnie, who completes the same amount of reps as James but with a 2.3% heavier weight, although it could be argued that a draw would be fairer due to the difference in form. The 8th and final comparison is a bench press, where Ronnie has a combined weight of 225 kilograms compared to James's 220, but notice that he's using a more limited range of motion when compared to James, and receives assistance from the 5th rep. James takes the win on the bench press despite using a slightly lower weight by achieving an additional unassisted repetition and a better range of motion. That brings us towards the end of the comparison with an outcome of 3 wins and 2 draws each. But it would be great to hear your opinion, so please leave a comment below letting me know who you think is stronger. I've left credits and the athlete's social media links in the description below, so please check those out and give them a follow. And finally, if you enjoyed the video, please help support my channel by smashing like, sharing the video, and if you haven't done so already, subscribing. Thank you.